When I first started playing old school RuneScape, I got my wood cutting up to 60 and I chopped U logs in free-to-play at Edgeville until I could afford a bond. That's right, instead of just spending what was then $7 Australian to buy membership at 23 years old, I decided to spend 100 hours chopping U logs in free-to-play. Do I regret my decision? No. Was it a mistake? Absolutely. And today we are going to be talking about the top 10 mistakes that new players make when they start playing old school RuneScape. Now, these 10 things are going to be in no particular order, and they are going to be aimed at people at all different parts of the start of their RuneScape journey. Obviously, some people are going to make mistakes in the first 5 minutes that they play. Some people don't realize that they're making mistakes 3 months after they started playing that they should have stopped making immediately. Without further ado, let's get into them. All right, number 1 on the list of the biggest mistakes. My parents having me. Okay, I have to fire my script writer. This is ridiculous. Now, the first big one is players that decide to grind their skills out instead of questing. Quests give absolutely insane XP these days, and for skills like agility, doing quests can get you over 70 agility just from doing quests without having trained at all. If you guys want a more in-depth rundown of the quests to do for each single skill, check out the video that I uploaded not long ago about how to get every skill to level 50. But for the most part, you want to be doing your quests rather than grinding your skills because you're going to want to do the quests eventually anyway, and it really helps skip over that early game grinds. Another big mistake that new players make when they're getting started in old school RuneScape is spending their Slayer points incorrectly. Now, Slayer is a favorite skill of noobs everywhere. There's just something about getting assigned a task to kill some shit and then going to kill that shit that noobs absolutely love. But if there's one thing noobs also absolutely love, it's spending the first Slayer points they get on either getting the Slayer Helm or using those points to cancel tasks that they don't want to do. That's definitely the wrong order to do things, and you'll be able to get the Slayer Helm down the road, and skipping bad tasks in the early game isn't that important. The first thing that you're going to want to spend your money on, your Slayer points on, I should say, is the bigger and badder perk. This is going to allow you to get superiors when you're training your Slayer, which will not only make you some money along the way from having that chance of getting the imbued heart or the eternal gem, but it also speeds up your Slayer XP per hour. These bigger and badder monsters give massive XP drops, and in some of the early cases can even skip a whole level if you get lucky. After that, you don't want to block tasks like Steel Dragons or Iron Dragons because they have very low weightings. What that means is they're going to get assigned less frequently than other bad tasks that you might want to block instead. There are heaps of great guides out there on efficient Slayer block lists that you might want to look over just so you know how to spend your points properly. And lastly, never unlock like a boss, unless of course you're in the late game and you want to do some bossing, but most of the time you're going to get a shit boss that you don't want to do and you're going to have to skip the task anyway. So you spent points to unlock like a boss and then you're going to have to spend points to skip the task. Don't do it. A huge mistake that my viewers make is assuming that this video wouldn't be sponsored. Come on. Now, if you've been watching my videos over the last 6 months, there's been a lot of face cam. Yes, my beautiful face on the screen. But there's also been something else. How many of you have noticed that? That right there is one of the LED signs from Creator Crafted, the sponsor of today's video. Creator Crafted creates the only, yes, the only, and I'm absolutely not fact checking that, the only officially licensed LED signs for RuneScape on the market. But that's not all they have. They've also got plushies. They've also got statuettes. They have mouse mats, which I use as well. And the coolest thing that they have just come out with recently, they have keys for your keyboard. Never get confused again about which F key is used for which thing in RuneScape, because it will be right there and you can see it visually. Before I finish this ad read, fun fact about the CEO of Creator Crafted. One time he spent 2 years creating the perfect 1 defense pure in old school RuneScape, and then decided he wanted to get the Varrock Diaries done and did the Nature Spirit quest and got 16 defense the day after he finished the pure. Right now, Creator Crafted is having a massive clearance sale. This is the lowest the prices have ever been or ever will be. Now is the time to pick up some Creator Crafted items if you're in the market for them. Now, on my live stream, I get people to type 10M in the chat if they want to win 10 mil. And today, Creator Crafted have said, if you guys want to get an extra 10% off, you can use the code 10M at Creator Crafted to get an extra 10%. I just repeated myself. You get the message. A big thank you again to Creator Crafted for sponsoring today's video. The next big mistake people do make is actually continuing with Slayer. People are using the Slayer Helm and the Salve Amulet. Unfortunately, the Slayer Helm and the Salve Amulet bonuses do not stack. If you have the imbued Salve Amulet, you will use the bonuses from the imbued Salve Amulet only and not the Slayer Helm. They don't join together. That being said, the bonuses for the Salve Amulet and the Void set do work. So in some situations when you're on Slayer tasks, you might be better off using the Salve Amulet with the Void set rather than the Slayer Helm and whatever amulet you are using for the style that you're attacking with. But big note, the Slayer Helm and the Salve Amulet perks do not stack. If there's ever any questions you have about this, you can either jump on the wiki and see if they stack, or you can come into my Kick live stream, kick.com/EVscape. I'm live every single day and you can ask me some questions. And while we're talking about Void, it is also important to note that when you're using Void, you need to be using the whole set. Yes, I know it sounds silly, but I've seen so many people using most of the Void with the Barrows gloves because they think the Barrows gloves gives them better bonuses. And while that may be true, the Barrows gloves do give better bonuses than the Void gloves, you completely miss out on the Void set. So make sure when you're using a set, you're using the full set bonus. A big mistake that noobs tend to make when they first get into old school RuneScape is assuming that the highest hitting weapon is the best DPS. I see a lot of noobs training out at the new gemstone crab with two-handed swords rather than scimitars. This, while it sounds like the best way to go, is not the best way to go. The two-handed weapons are slow hitting weapons, so while they have higher max hits, they are slower to hit than the scimitar, which has a slightly lower max hit, but a faster attack speed. The scimitars attack at a 4-tick rate, with the two-handers at a 5-tick rate. Of course, you do have other weapons like the ham joint, which attacks at a 3-tick rate, but has absolutely no strength bonus. For the most part, you want to be training with 4-tick attack weapons when you're training, because those are the weapons that are going to have the fastest DPS against monsters with low defense, which you'll most likely be training on. When you get to the late game bossing, that's when you want to use slower attacking weapons with higher bonuses and higher max hits. But for the training part, with low defense monsters, the faster the weapon, usually the better. When some players start old school RuneScape, they have a bad habit of using their weapons on the wrong attack style. For example, I've seen some people using scimitars with the stab style when they should be using it on slash. What you want to do is go into your equipment tab on your character to check what the highest bonus is for the weapon that you're using. If the highest bonus is crush, you want to be using the crush attack style. If the highest bonus is slash, you want to be using the slash attack style. And if the highest bonus is stab, you want to be using the stab attack style. With that being said, it is also useful to know what your opponent is weak to. If you're attacking a monster that's weak to stab, you probably want to be using a stab weapon. If it's weak to slash, you want to be using a slash weapon, and you get the point. Another thing I see a lot of new players doing is spending their gold on gear or just hoarding their gold because they don't want to spend it. I've seen people with hundreds of mils in the bank that don't want to spend 20 million GP to get construction because 20 mil out of 200 is a lot, and it is a lot of money. However, it's going to save you so much time in the long run to get those skills up. Skills like construction, herb lore, just training your melee stats, training your ranged at an efficient rate, spending the money on chins, spending the money on magic training stuff. Spend your money, guys. You definitely want to do that. Decent gear is very cheap. The things that you're going to be upgrading, for example, you can get a mixed hide top, which is a +1 strength bonus, or you can upgrade to a fighter torso, which is free for a +4, And then the next upgrade from a fighter torso to get an extra strength bonus is an oath plate chest plate. And that is worth 50 mil, a lot of money for a +2 strength bonus, which sometimes doesn't even get you a max hit. So don't focus so much on the gear at the start of your journey. You want to spend as much money as you can on your skills, because you will get that money back as you get more in depth in your journey, and money will be easier to make. And the higher your skills are, the easier money is to make. Spend your money, don't hoard it. Next on the list is buying bonds or real world trading for GP, because, you know, people do that. Jagex really don't ban people for doing that. You'd get away with it if you wanted to. Don't, but you would get away with it. Don't do that to yourself. Don't ruin the experience for yourself by getting as much money as you can to buy a whole bunch of gear that you won't be able to know how to use anyway. You won't know how to use the gear. You might as well just enjoy the experience, make the money yourself. Then if you get to the late game and you have a 500 million GP bank and you want a twisted bow, buy bonds then. Don't do it at the start of the game. You will rid yourself of a fantastic opportunity to learn how the game works and learn how to make money, and a really, really enjoyable experience at that. Don't buy gold to start with. Next up is another Slayer one, and this is for a little bit later game players. Not right at the start, but I see a lot of big noobs using the Osmumpton's Fang when they're doing their Slayer tasks. Now, for those that don't know how the Osmumpton's Fang works, it is a 5-tick weapon, so slower than scimitars, as we were talking about before. And then on top of that, you cannot hit your max hit. You can only hit up to 75% of your max hit with the Fang. And the reason that is because you get a double accuracy roll. It is very accurate. However, Slayer monsters, most of them have insanely low defense. You don't need all of that accuracy and to slow yourself down with that weapon. You want to be using something like the Abyssal Whip, a Dragon Scimitar, something fast and hard hitting rather than the Fang. You really do not want to be using the Fang at the Slayer tasks. If anything, you want to sell your Fang, get a whip, and then buy extra strength bonus gear so that you hit harder with the faster attacking weapon. And one of the biggest mistakes I see people making in old school RuneScape, which is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, is playing it as if they are the only person in the game. This game was designed to be played as a multiplayer game. You're supposed to interact with other players and do things together, and it is so much more fun. You guys should absolutely join a clan. Find people that also enjoy playing the game in your time zone that you can do bosses with and chat with and mess around with. If you guys would like, I have a clan chat in game. Swing past the stream sometime or jump in the Discord, link in the description, and we'll be able to get you guys in the clan. If you're looking for some more friends to play the game with, don't play this game alone. It's so much more fun when you play it with friends. And finally, number 10 on the list of the top 10 biggest mistakes that new old school RuneScape players make is not being subscribed to EVscape. Okay, we've got a heap of guides out here, and there's going to be heaps more coming. Make sure you click that subscribe button, and if you'd like, come past the kick stream. We talk about newbie stuff all day. You got any questions, you can ask me in real time. I'll give you an answer. And on top of that, we do a 10 mil giveaway on Kick every single hour that I'm live, and I'm live every single day. I've given away over 2 billion GP just in the last couple of weeks. Come swing past the kick stream. That's going to wrap it up for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one very soon. Take it easy.